So how do we raise the bar on the talent coming into research? How do we make it more interesting, more sexy, if you like, for people? You know, how do we get this fresh talent into the business that we're going to need?
I mean, first of all, I don't know that there's anything that could be more exciting than research, like getting to understand real people and what's really going on. I think that we've just hidden it behind a veneer of figures and kind of grey suits, and then wondered why people don't think it's a sexy industry to enter. But if you have a look at what's happening in research, and you maybe compare that with the agency world, I would say research is more interesting. And we've got good young people coming into research within Mesh. They're looking at different agencies, they're interviewing at advertising as well as research. But actually, they see that this is interesting from a psychological perspective, from a technology perspective, and I think we should just be confident about it.
But what we need to do is use the people we get within the first 2 years and they arrive in the industry. We have these recruitment processes, we make them stand up and give presentations, we give them some mock data as part of the graduate recruitment scheme, and we find out that they're exciting people and they can do things. And then we grind them down for 4 or 5 years. And then we say, now present, and they've become wooden replicas of the rest of us. So we've got to start letting them do it straight away. No process of going all the way up the tree. Get them presenting to real clients in the first 3 months, get them giving their opinion, put them on their strength, get them saying to clients, if you don't understand this, you're old, listen to me.
Yeah, I think the old model is that we tell them what we want and see if they fit or not. Maybe now we'll listen to what they want to do and see how we can adapt to that.
Well, if I look at my 16-year-old son, the talent is coming. That's clear, because a lot of what is needed for that, they have an intuitive way of learning it. And the learning agility of that generation, I think, is what is going to bring the talent to the market. The challenge is on the people that are working in the industry now and how they can catch up. But that's where I say, well, let's agree we have another few years to go.
That's a very interesting point. So you're not worried about the fresh talent. I mean, as long as people join market research, you know. But actually, it's the current. It's the I don't know, re-education or letting go of the old ways.
It's opening up to some elements, because with a lot of this stuff, it's still in the experimental phase. But we've never been afraid of experimenting as an industry. It's just when technology kicks in that sometimes people are kind of resistant to it. Yeah.
Everybody's talking about the fact that today's generation of young people coming into the workforce all over the world, not just in the developed markets, but all over the world, they're not coming into it necessarily just for the money, they're not coming into it because of the titles, they're coming into it for the experience. And, you know, there's a basic truism anywhere around the world that if you're a career builder, as our company calls them, you know, the first 10 years of your working life, primarily you were there to fill in forms and stamp things, you know, and we've got to stop that, because you've got to give people the creative rush to be able to create new things right from the beginning.
I remember the moment my boss said, I'd like you to pick up the research team as well, and my heart sank and I slunk down in the chair going, oh no, I'm going to leave all the creative energy stuff in marketing and go and do some bookkeeping or whatever. But actually, so I think I've actually found the experience much more enjoyable than I thought I would, and much more stimulating. So I'm quite keen to try and circulate people through from other marketing disciplines into research and research into marketing, and try and create some sort of broadening of experience, so we don't categorize people as researchers or marketeers, or they're just, you know, people who are interested and curious in how customers behave. So.
Market researchers are still seen as somebody who stands in the street and asks questions, and that's increasingly out of date, but people don't understand what market research is, and I'm actually still not convinced that using market research is the right term, because I think it's quite narrow. I think we've got to understand that there are other ways of collecting data, and if you're going to integrate those, then maybe to call us the insight industry is a more encompassing term.
I think there is a lot of, it's not always clear what our industry is about. At Bakmar we did a small piece of research to look at what's the image of a market researcher. And to put it in one sentence, it's not a geek, because geek is, now it's like how to be a geek, but it's more like a nerdy kind of guy who's sitting behind his computer and who is kicking on doing the latest trick in statistics.
I heard earlier from some other people that it's pretty geeky. I mean, market research can be a bit geeky and it attracts the geeks. Unfortunately, instead of geek chic, instead of the kind of the creative end of geeks, it's kind of just geek. I mean, it's dry stats and maybe not, it's solid, but it hasn't got a panache, it hasn't got flair to it. And I don't know, how do we attract a bit more creative types, people who can do something with the numbers?
Well, perhaps it's the people who are teaching it that we might change. Perhaps we should get Hollywood actors and directors to teach people how to communicate the research, how to be more, how to impress people with the results, or to deliver the results and follow through on them. Teaching people by university professors can go so far, and in this world I think you need a lot more than that.